Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle. Joining me again, the great Gordon Tallis.
Hey, Brady.
Let's bring the journos in, Paul Crawley and Andrew Webster. And breaking news this afternoon, Broncos top four hopes rocked as Gehamat Shibasaki has been dropped after a boozy night out. Crawls, you got some information on this?
Yeah, big story. Peter Bedell's broken this afternoon on the Courier Mail website. Apparently, Gehamat has turned up. Well, he's gone out on the drink on Sunday night in Brisbane, not after the return from Townsville. He's had a big night out. He's turned up to training on Monday morning under the weather, and Madge has made the decision to drop him. Dean Mariner moves to the centres. Jesse Arthur's onto the wing. And I guess going forward, depending on how the Broncos go, firstly on Thursday night against the Storm, but heading into the semis, does it cost this bloke who has been one of the season's great comeback stories his spot for the finals?
I think especially the way they've been attacking the last couple of weeks, they've averaged 40 points, without the 6 and 7. He's had a great season. It's just a shame. This biggest game of their season so far, Melbourne Storm, to get in the top four. History shows that you can't win the comp outside the top four. I don't think it's the crime of the century, but that's the standards.
I think that says everything about the Broncos standards. I mean, he's the one player when he made his Origin debut in Game 3. Remember all those great stories about how he was a Michael Maguire project. He gave him a lifeline from a trial and train contract to, Origin decider and played the house down. The fact that the leadership group were on board with it straight away, and the fact that they've got such a big game and they're trying to nail down fourth. It says a lot about where the Broncos are at a club. I think it's if there's a silver lining to it, it's how they've handled it.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, some may say it's a bit harsh, but if you're talking about setting standards, and you mentioned it's a big game for them, top four opportunity, but you've got to set standards. You've got to have a culture that you adhere to. Every player's got to be on the same page, heading in the same direction with the same goals. And he's made a big call here, Madge, and I like the leadership group has backed him on it. Now, it's been a bizarre 24 hours, though. One of their players was drinking toilet water yesterday, and then now Shibasaki.
What's worse?
But you just mentioned it there, Braith. Like, you mentioned the culture. Shouldn't the culture be sorted out before round 27? Like, is that the issue with the Broncos? Like you just said it.
They're going to make it. They're going to make mistakes, Crawls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they've made.
It's a pretty bloody costly mistake.
It is. It's not like they've
year.
made mistakes all year, though, and it's been a constant, has it? They've been pretty good all year, haven't they?
They have. They have. But like you said, the Reece Walsh thing, again, not the crime of the century, but pretty bloody silly. And then this before a match where you're fighting for a top four spot, like it's the final round of the regular season. If you beat the Storm, and that's your line in the sand match too. We've seen them towel up some of the easier teams in the competition in recent weeks, but go back 4 weeks, and when they played this team, they were neck and neck for the first 20 minutes against Melbourne before they got those 3 injuries in quick succession. And the Broncos have got so much talent. And they can blow any team off the park. But the one thing you do wonder about them is defensively and their mindset, if they've got what it takes to beat the big guns. And Gordy, you tell me about this. Losing Shibasaki defensively in the centres. Yeah. So you're bringing in a kid in Mariner who's an A-grade talent, but defensively.
Well, defensively, he's a winger, so he's going to get asked a lot of questions. You would just like Craig Bellamy would probably be licking his lips, just the way that they're going to attack Cameron Munster. And I think they do lose a bit. Shibasaki showed in State of Origin when he went there. It was a big task for him and Robert Toyer, and they did a job. So they are going to lose there, but Mariner's such an excitement with the football, but it's defensively where Brisbane have lacked.
Gordy's spot on. Like, for the punter at home, the difference between defending in the centres to winger is significant. It's huge. You got to make more decisions. You're getting more thrown at you in defence in that position. A lot of wingers that do move into the centre struggle in defence because it is so different. So it's a big loss. It really is. And with Madge taking on Bellamy, it's a big game. Melbourne Storm up against Brisbane, and Madge has a shocking record against Craig, which makes this game even more important, and without Shibasaki. But let's talk about that record. Why? Why is it so bad for so long? We're going years back. Here it is here. Like, pretty incredible stats. 15 games, 1 win. He's got a 6.7% win rate. And the last time he beat him was in 2013.
This is not about Madge. It's like when people try to coach like Wayne Bennett. There's one Wayne. It's like someone trying to impersonate Michael Jackson. There's only one. So Craig Bellamy, seriously, but Craig Bellamy for 20 years, right?
You can't do that.
Is Craig. So if Madge has learned underneath him and tries to beat the master, it's really hard to meet, to meet and beat that guy, unless you're coaching his footy side. So he's going to have to come up with some tricks.
Jesus, there's some coaches out there that have a bad record against Bellamy.
Yeah.
Though.
Oh, mate, they all would have a negative record. And Ivan Cleary.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then the Roosters, they hadn't won in 19 or 20 against Penrith and Melbourne. So he's not Robinson Crusoe.
And the Broncos record it doesn't matter who's coaching against Melbourne.
They can't
as
go
long
in
as I can remember.
For as long as I've played against Melbourne, it was a long time ago. We can't beat Melbourne at Melbourne's game. We got to play our style, and that's throwing the ball around and back your mistakes. But if they go in a shell and think they're going to go set for set with Melbourne, you play into their hands.
Just Buzz and Peter Bedell broke that story on Shibasaki, so well done to Bomber and Buzz. Buzz ever so reliable, as we know. Now, beware of the embarrassed Craig Bellamy, though. Last week was something that we've hardly seen it. I don't, the way that they got in his 600th game. Now, Melbourne are the best at bouncing back, right? So that makes it even harder for the Broncos and Michael Maguire.
I was down in Melbourne for Craig Bellamy's 600th dinner on the Wednesday night, and you could tell that he was sick of the attention. And they usually win milestone matches. They're renowned for it, Melbourne, and it's been such a big build-up. And I remember you could just see he just wanted to get out there and play the game, But that result, what happened in that second half, that would have hurt him. And I thought the way that the team that he's picked and hardly rested any players just says how serious he's taking it.
It's funny, it probably tells you a little bit about Bellamy too, how he always puts the team first. In that, in his milestone match, he rested all these players. Yeah. Like he put one hand tied behind his back. He did that.
Yeah,
and
it wasn't about him.
And their first half, they went out and they did their absolute best. They're leading 10-0. The Roosters score 40 second half points. But I'll ask you this, Braith. So Mark Nwanganita-Tasi has gone out and scored 4 tries. They've scored 5 tries down that right edge.
Yeah.
Melbourne missing Xavier Coates. Xavier Coates come back this week. I think is Howarth back too? Is it completely different?
I honestly look at that game, and as great as it was for the Roosters, and that was a fantastic bounce back, and they were the far better team, superior team. I think if you look at the next month ahead, I'm not concerned about that game at all. I know that Craig is, because that's the way that he works, but you're right. They had key positions, especially that Coates. Coates has been not only amazing in defence, but in attack, he's their go-to. And they didn't even have him. They held their gloves up for the first half, and looked like they were a chance of winning. And all the tries were the same, the same edge, similar plays, which the Roosters were. It was great for them to acknowledge that or see that and attack that. A weakness in the opposition, but I'm just not worried about it. Any of you guys worried about it?
No, that's why I brought it up, because I truly thought when you're sitting there and you're watching the highlights of that game, and Robbo even conceded in his post-match presser, we picked out what we needed to do in the second half, and we went out there and did it. But you bring Coates back into that side, it's just different.
The biggest mistake Craig Bellamy made was putting Brent Reid in his box.
That was... Mate, Reedy didn't even win at the Strikers. That's the worst ever soccer team coming out of Queensland.
All right, now, Madge, he blew a bit of a gasket on the weekend at half-time, and they were winning. They were 4 points up in this game, and we were covering this live on Super Saturday. I quite liked it. I'm not... because of what he's renowned for and the criticisms he has received over the years with how he's a hard taskmaster, a lot of people sort of looked deeply into this. I didn't. I thought it was okay. I'd like to get the opinion of you guys.
I was the same. That just looks like a normal halftime address from Michael Maguire. I've seen worse from him. I don't know what the song and dance is about it.
I just think that the way the Broncos are playing at the moment, it frustrates people watching it. It would have to frustrate the hell out of Madge, because they can be so brilliant. And then in the blink of an eye, someone will come up with a stupid mistake and it can turn the match. And if not for that forward pass in that game on the weekend, that turned a 2-point lead into an 8-point lead. And it could be a completely different game. And Madge would see, you know, these little things come September can really let you down.
We'll get to that forward pass soon, by the way.
Mate, everybody deserves it. I'm sure you would have got one.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne, I probably count on one hand in the 200-odd games, you know, and then when I coached with Johnny Lang, he had 2. He goes, you've only got 2 a year.
Brian Smith said the same when he coached us.
Yeah, like...
He would space out the amount of times.
Yeah, mate, like, and you can't do it all the time because it's on deaf ears. So, but he should know what messages are going to work by now.
Ivan Cleary says he's had it done 2
there you go.
2019.
Yeah.
And Ben Hunt
he's better than Tiger Town. So, no, but like it's a better side. But like then, sometimes as a player, you do deserve a spray. And sometimes you sit there waiting for a spray, and sometimes you don't get it, and sometimes you think, we didn't deserve that, and you get one.
We
it's just
interviewed
the dressing room.
Ben Hunt straight after the game, and he said Madge has been good all year. It was a blow-up, but they haven't received too many of them. Like that was his exact words. Now, debate rages over the forward pass rulings and the Shibasaki one to Walters, which you just mentioned. Now, it was let go by the referees. The bunker can't rule on it. The NRL are standing by that they think that the ball come out of the hands backwards. I'd like to get the opinion of the panel.
That's a forward pass any day of the week. That's forward out of the hands.
Yeah?
Case closed.
If you're watching that, and on the Fox commentary, I can't remember exactly who was calling, but whoever it was and whoever's the expert there says straight away.
Metre and a half.
We're sitting at home. Every single person that you speak to, bar Ashley Klein,
and
the people at the NRL are trying to convince us that is not a forward pass. That's a forward pass.
Can I stick up for Ashley Klein? So he's going, and he's not going to see the side of the ball, so he slows up to see it. What's the linesman doing? He needs Roger Fabry.
Yeah, he was 10 minutes.
He needs Rog. No, seriously, because that's... Like, where's the linesman? What's he doing?
He's plotting.
But see, this is the issue, and in fairness to Ashley Klein in this situation...
Just quickly...
Do we need 4 touch judges?
It's not about floating forward, because we know it floats forward. The argument here is, does it come out of their hands backwards or forwards?
It's a forward pass.
Imagine if
I think it's a forward pass.
Right?
I'm just telling you.
Imagine if it's a clock, because we do know the rules, out of the hands backwards, but... To me, that's coming out at 1 o'clock. To be a backwards pass, it's got to come out at 3 o'clock. The hands have got to be straight.
Yeah.
For mine, that's at that angle. It reminds me of Latrell's pass in that comeback game against the Roosters.
See, that's an example of it coming out of the hands backwards but floating forwards. Yeah. The other one came out of the hand. I'm asking the questions, but I'm going to answer my own question. It came out of the hands forward.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I've supported a lot of the calls from the NRL this year. I can't support this one. I really can't. I think at the time, but you know what? I'm not going to stick up for Klein. Klein couldn't be any closer to it. And, you know, and the touch judge, he wasn't keeping up. You know, you can kind of understand that in that situation, given that first-grade rugby league players are very fast. But Klein was in a good position. I know what you mean, Gordy, where he could have lost sight of it a little bit there. Yeah. But look where Walters ends up. Yeah. Like, you know, it was crazy.
You know, you have to in this game. You have to roll with mistakes like that from time to time. Yeah. The thing is that it just seems to happen a lot. But don't you feel
if we had the technology? So this is a question, right, that I get all the time. They can check for everything. When you see where it's left his hands, and if it goes more than a metre, it's a forward pass.
You're saying use the video ref for forward pass technique?
Well, so like this guy said, well, if it comes out of the hand backwards and it goes, give it like a metre to float. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Or 50 centimetres. But if it goes further than that, if we've got the technology, it's a forward pass.
I don't agree with that argument, because I've seen passes that did come out of the hands backwards that have travelled 5 or 6 metres forward, depending on the speed they're going at. But in this instance, mate, I think the bunker is the answer, because it just leaves the game open to ridicule, because we are all sitting there and watching the replay, and you watch replay after replay, and it only took one. And I'll guarantee if that's awarded a no try, there is no blow up. There's no blow up. Yeah. But the fact that the bunker can't come in and correct what I would consider a howler.
All passes or just passes before tries?
In the lead up to tries. So this try scoring play.
Try scoring play.
From the time the ball's played to the time it's scored. Because as it is, we go back and review every single try anyway.
Yeah.
Like every try is reviewed, and if you're sitting there and you're staring at a forward pass and that happens to be a grand final...
Well, everyone talks about the
you
video...
don't need it.
Everyone talks about the video ref coming in for the howler. There's a howler.
There's the howler.
You know, that's what it should be there for. I don't agree with the microchip in the ball technology and all that rubbish that they were going on about.
Can't they have GPS in their jerseys? Can't they just map that?
Yeah, but they were also when they also talking about lines and imaginary lines in the field and all that stuff. I do think the touch judges need to get a bit more involved.
Did you see how far he was away?
When COVID came in, they got rid of the two.
Mate, that's his job.
When they got rid of the two refs, the line out of the NRL.
He needed an Uber to get there.
The line out of the he needs a skateboard. The line out of the NRL was that the two touch judges were going to be like a second and third referee to judge on stuff like that. And the touch judges don't. I don't know what they do.
Yeah, they need speed work.
They do need.
But you know what? Like, and if the bunker did come in, it wouldn't stop you. Like, if it's a really close one and the bunker can't give you an either way, well, then you have to cop it. But when it's one like that and you just know it's going to cause you heartache, bloody pick it up.
How do you determine, and just quickly before we move on from this, because we could probably argue it for a while, how do you determine how close it is? And, you know, like this, what's a howler, what's not?
We're not going to be happy.
Common sense.
We're not going to be happy.
I would think so,
You know
right?
what?
But would it get a bit murky, you know?
It could
Absolutely.
get murky, but that, in those murky situations where everyone's a little bit each way, you've got to back the ref's call.
All we've got to say is...
But if it's one like that where you've
Hold on, if they're passing... Why don't we just do this and it's going to be black and white? If the ball goes forward, the ball goes forward no matter how it comes out of your hands. Isn't that common sense?
Well, that's physics, and unfortunately the ball will travel forward even if it's come out of the hands backwards often.
The argument is because of the camera angles, it's deceiving. You know, you don't know, you can't you always tell exactly just how far the ball's floated forward or whether it's coming out of the hands. But at that one there, as you said,
with the line,
that one's so obvious.
All right, let's take a look at the ins and outs for round 27. Thanks to Sportsbet for the Broncos. Shibasaki dropped, as we spoke about at the top of the show. Now Hughes returns at halfback for the Melbourne Storm. Murray to make his season debut for the very last game against the Roosters. That's an interesting one. Joey Walsh to make his debut off the bench for the Manly Seagulls. Cleary returns for their near full-strength Panthers team, and the Raiders, well, they're going to rest 10
Can we get
players.
Buzz on the line to see whether he's okay with it?
Yeah.
They're actually resting 7 players, 3 legitimate injuries.
Oh, but so that's 10. No,
so
that's
there's 10 players out of the game. There's 10
Penrith could have
players
had
out of the game.
6 legitimate injuries.
Well, we didn't blow
But
up
those
without
injured
it, did we?
players,
No, you
will they be
didn't.
playing week 1 of the final, sure?
I'd say they would be playing. And I'd say, guess what? I reckon if this was a final this week, they'd still be playing.
So my argument yesterday with Reedy and Buzz, do the Raiders earn the right to rest players?
Bloody oath they've earned the right.
Does
you know
Penrith
what?
earn the
Ethan
right?
Strange is getting a rest this week. It's the first rest he's had all season. He's played every single round. He
Probably
gets
every
one
minute.
rest now
Yeah.
after copping a really bad whiplash.
They've earned the right.
Where do you sit on this, Webb? Because you went on last week.
I agree with that. I can't believe this happens every year. The whole aim of playing this game is to win the comp, not round 27, not round 26. Yep. If you've earned the right, as you said, they do this in professional codes all around the world. You manage your squad, and it's a long season. Like, what more do you want out of the player? Like, the game's never been tougher, never been harder. The season's never been longer, and they've got so many commitments. Of course, they're not robots. Yeah. You've got to give them a freshen up before the big dance.
And we've already moved on from last week, and it's a distant memory already, isn't it? Like, I mean, they rested all the players and
That's right.
play on 6 again. All right, now, the Raiders, you're a bit worried, Crawls, or you want them... Because they've got a shorter turnaround before the finals.
There's a bit of an issue here, and in my eyes, it has the potential to be a very unfair result on the Raiders. So the Broncos, who could finish 4th, sit 4th on the ladder at the moment, play Thursday night against the Storm. The Warriors are playing Friday night. The Sharks, who also can finish 4th if things go their way, are playing on the Saturday. The Raiders are playing on the Sunday. And it's not locked in yet, but the talk out there is that potentially the Raiders will probably get the Saturday in the first finals. And their argument, and I think it's a very legitimate argument, is that the Broncos will have a 9-day rest before that game. The Warriors would have an 8-day rest. The Sharks 7, and the Raiders, who finish minor premiers, will be worst off with the 6-day turnaround. Surely it's got to go on the Sunday.
They're resting 10 players, though.
Well, they are resting 10 players, but they earned that right.
I know they earned the
Well,
right.
you know what? Why
It always
should
used
they
to be
penalised?
Sunday. Well, I remember 1 and 2 used to always play Sunday. That was the big game.
I'll tell you where I reckon this has gone wrong. I reckon at the start of the season, when they're doing the draw, they probably look at the fact that the Raiders are playing the Dolphins final round. They're not going to be playing finals.
Yeah.
And so they end up on the last game.
Don't worry, that's motivated them all year.
It has, mate.
This
but
will motivate
it would not
Ricky
be
even more.
fair. It would not
This
be
is the
fair
article.
to
This is
have
us.
them playing the Saturday game.
That's what he wanted up on the sheds.
to win it.
He's going to have it up on the sheds.
Don't you think it's a legitimate...
No, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm confident.
But
that
they'd be
they'll
so
overcome
excited.
it, you know?
I know what you're saying, but they'd be so excited. And the 6-day turnaround is fine. Like, they manage that now. What's the sports scientist doing there? Let him earn his job for 1 week and get him right.
So give the Broncos an 8, just give them a leg up.
Hey, sometimes it's worse
Because
sitting around.
likely that's who they're going to be playing.
Yeah, but sometimes it's worse sitting around.
Not a bad. That's actually a
Well,
point.
mate, I'm glad they've still got the rest of the
No,
policy.
well, there's a positive with both.
You're on a roll, Crawls. What's your beef for the week, mate?
Beef
If
for
you
the
haven't
week,
had one
I
already.
hate...
I can't get a word in anywhere.
I'll give you a go. in a minute.
Yeah, just throw him a short ball at the end of this. Just
Mate, the wild card weekend for the finals, I hate it. I hate it. Why should the teams that finished 9th and 10th be rewarded and potentially knock out the teams that finished 7th and 8th? Like, we have a 27-round competition, right? It's a survival of the fittest. It's a test of endurance. Why should you get to the last weekend and throw it all upside down and potentially have Team 10 taking the spot of Team 7? Which in this case, it would be the Dolphins taking the spot of the Panthers. Is that fair?
no.
No way in the world.
I 100% agree. It must be the last round because a wildcard weekend story popped up in the news cycle.
It comes around every year.
I agree. If you finish 10th in a 17-team competition or an 18-team competition, you don't deserve to have a bite at it.
Yeah.
It works in bigger competitions around the world where they have 34 teams, you know. But
Does
we've
anyone
got 18,
think
19,
the
20.
team that comes 10th has any chance of winning the competition?
Well, if they've had a lot of injuries, so there is a little bit of merit. If they've had a lot of injuries and they've had 5 or 6, say something like South or the Dolphins with their sides and they've gone through Origin and they get all their players back and they've hit some form and they just run out of petrol, that could be quite exciting.
If you can't get into the 8 in 24 rounds,
And that's a valid
24
point
matches
too.
in 27 rounds, you don't deserve to be there.
And my argument on top of that would be, we already say if you don't finish top 4, you're not going to win the comp, right? You're throwing an extra elimination final basically on top of these teams.
Keeping the fans
So all
involved.
the teams in the bottom 2 and the next 2, they've got no chance.
I think the main point too, before we move on, is it doesn't stop resting anyway. Because isn't that what this was all suggesting?
Exactly.
It doesn't even
I'm
won't stop
worried.
resting.
Is Blake Solly now the NRL boss?
I don't know.
Underneath that headline.
Is that breaking news? Is it? No?
That's a good story.
You got something for
no,
us?
I don't actually.
All right, Ivan names the full-strength side, an ominous warning for the Dragons. This is a big test for Shane Flanagan, isn't it?
It has to be. They've. I thought they'd been brave there, a few weeks ago, but now the wheels have fallen off the season, haven't they? Look, I'm a supporter of Flano's extension. I've said on this show, maybe 2 years was too much. I'm happy with the extra year, but I'm sure we're all hearing all the same rumblings about some players not being happy with him. That happens when you're having a losing season, but I think he's under pressure going into next year.
But was there pressure to re-sign him?
No, it wasn't. No. It was all about giving that club some stability.
Yep.
From Mary to Anthony Griffin, and then even in Flano's first year, there was, it's hard to recruit and it's hard to bring stability to your club when you've got a coach that's continually got the axe hovering over his head.
There is a lot of players on the way out, Webby, and there's not a lot of players on the way in, Crawls.
No, there's not. There's a stack of players. Geez, you could go through them. Jack DeBell and Tyrell Sloan. Who else is leaving?
They're
They've
about
got
to
Blake
pop up.
Lawrie.
Someone's been in the lab, Crawls.
Well, there we go. There's the outs and there's the ins. And, these sort of situations happen at every club, don't they? And it always creates a bit of a toxic culture when you've got players that are leaving. But I agree with what you're hearing, Webby, in that there is a little bit of unrest. And then you go back to Flano's situation. They got those 2 wins against the Raiders and Cronulla. But the fact of the matter is they finished 11th last year. They're currently sitting 15th on the ladder, and I I just don't know. Where's the fire? Why did they have to give him that extension? Why couldn't they have waited a few weeks? Like, has it resulted in any further players going to their club?
But it's more next year. It's more in the couple of years to come. My big issue is what they're going to do in the halves. What are they going to do with Daniel Atkinson and where does he play? And is it alongside
what are they going to do?
King Toya? I don't know, or Kyle. That's the main
Well,
question.
it has to be though, doesn't it?
What?
Well, look, Kyle Flanagan, we've said it, and we're not picking on the bloke. Like, he tries his guts out. But I just don't see how you think that having Kyle as your 7 going forward is going to put you not just in the top 8, but in the top 4 or where they want to be. And they've bought Atkinson, they've got Kintongia, who's a pretty fair talent.
Yeah.
But they've got something that Flano hasn't got. They've got a bit more speed. And I just don't understand why Lockie Ilias hasn't got another shot this year. Like, you know, he came off a broken leg. They brought him. They brought him to the club. Coming off a broken leg. He hardly got a chance to secure his position. Once he got punted, he never came back. And yet we've watched them finish the season like they did. And there's no question against the Raiders and Cronulla, they went really bloody well. But I can't see the improvement there. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I was a young halfback coming through, I would not go to that club while he's there because there is obviously something going on.
I'm with you.
Okay, stick around, journos, and the NFL returns. Defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles host the Dallas Cowboys in the season opener this Friday live at 10 a.m. on ESPN.
This giant 18-year-old Bondi centre finished the season with 50 tries.
It's a try! The big fella's done it! Cleo, yes! Oh, what power!
You become like this stuff of local legend.
We just pick a bush town where they hadn't won a competition for a while or they'd run last.
Everywhere you went, success just followed you. You were like the human crush. Is that where you got your name?
No, but my nickname was Blossom.
Why?
Big Noel Cleo goes himself, steps out of a tackle from Cutler, and he scores!
So there's a couple of bush rangers up here. He said, you should have a look at them. He had the 3 dogs in the gate, in the mini mate with no roof on it. And I said, Les, what are you thinking?
He never got his foot to it, and it drifted about a metre.
I'd imagine the Queenslanders wouldn't let you forget the 84 goal line dropout.
I was waiting for this.
I'm hoping it's not just an urban myth.
It's a true story. It's a true story. I can hear the big gun.
Cleo just tackling through like a shearer's dog. There it is, it's all over.
To finally do it, it was a dream come true. And I can tell you, memories are a lot better than dreams.
Welcome back. Tonight it's face-to-face with Noel Cleo, boys. Noel Crusher. Cleo, what a character he was, huh? Legend.
Everyone, when I was a kid, everyone hated Manly, but we all loved Crusher.
Yeah, he was a big brute of a man, wasn't he? But he was also an athlete and he defied his body image. And he had his
started
brother
in the
Lee.
centres, didn't he?
He did,
Right,
he did.
Yeah.
And he was a try-scoring machine. He was as tough as nails and he was a hell of a bloke.
I just remembered the long sleeve. You know, it was too hot in Townsville to bring out the long sleeve, but I'd love to bring back the long sleeve. But how good was he?
Yeah.
And a great fellow. And you know what? He was a great talent scout too.
He was.
Like that. I think he was at Parramatta and Manly for a long time. Went out to the
And worked with Des for years and years and years,
Yeah,
and
and
uncovered
found
some wonderful footballers.
Yeah, like a
among
lot of country kids.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on now to the Titans. Webber, you broke the Ezra House story. What's the latest from the Titans and the Bears?
We're just waiting on the NRL to see if they're going to investigate this. Yeah, I wrote it in the Australian on Saturday afternoon, just ahead of sneaky bomber Bedell. He's had more exclusives than me, so I'll take it.
You got him there.
Look, it's the only reason. Look, I'm not alleging any wrongdoing against Ezra Howe at all, but the fact that the Gold Coast Titans have submitted to the NRL and asked for this to be investigated to see whether there's been any misconduct at all from Ezra Howe, their recruitment manager, and to see whether he was trying to assemble a squad made up of 9 Titans players. They've asked for the NRL to see if the Bears were complicit in it, in what he was doing, and I think it's fair enough that they investigate it.
You heard it? Where are you
Well,
going?
it's potentially a very big story when you look at the fact the Bears, Mal Meninga's the coach, the NRL hold jurisdiction over them. I'd love to know, Webby, is there more to it than someone working on their computer and compiling notes that are free to everyone? You spoke about that last night, but there's more allegations, because on the surface there, you'd think, well, who wouldn't do that?
Yeah.
But how deep does it go? I guess that's what...
The way this played out, and I wrote this in the Australian on Saturday. So when Ezra Howe left, the Titans had heard that from a player manager that he had told them to go slow on re-signing Titans players because the Bears were coming in. When that happened, that's when they did the forensic audit of Ezra Howe's laptop and his emails, and that's where they found the spreadsheets and a whole stack of documents, including a letter of offer, which is now being suggested to me and to others is actually faked, which just adds another level of complexity and weirdness to this story. But the fact that, and there's been suggestions, or it's been claimed by the Gold Coast Titans to the NRL, that there's a recording of Ezra Howe saying to a player manager to go slow. Now, how that recording has happened will be interesting. I just think that to me, I just think that means the NRL, particularly when the NRL owned the Perth franchise for the next 5 years, they need to investigate it. Yeah. They need to get to the bottom of exactly who knew what and what's happened.
Just off the back of Crawls, because I look at it similar to what you do. You know, if I'm this is what I'm hearing. If the situation was like, everyone knew that he was going, right? He hadn't officially signed with the Bears, he hadn't been sacked by the Titans, but there was this kind of, it was known to everyone that he was probably going to land at the Bears. Now, he's at the Titans and he's not sure if he's going, or if he's going, it's kind of a big possibility, and he's looking at rosters and he's looking at a team that he's going to formulate if he does go there, and it's something that most recruiters would do, right? And you wouldn't do it on the Titans' computer, which is a mistake. But to me, I don't look at it and go, "Oh, this is a disgrace. How dare he's trying to..." Like, he's got to look because you got to think of this too. The Bears are starting from scratch, right? They've got no help from the NRL in terms of financial compensation, like, you know, for a team that's got to start from the bottom. So I'm not condoning his behaviour, but you can understand in his position someone doing that. And I don't know. I think that
happens all the time. Yeah. That happens all the time. I get that, but nevertheless, you can't do it.
Yeah,
you can't be working for one club when you're going to working for one club when you're still at another.
But is he working for that club, or is he looking at who he would potentially go for if he did get?
That's what an NRL investigation.
There's two differences.
That's what an NRL investigation's got to get to the bottom of.
That's right, but
and the reason why I'm going hard on this is because the NRL so far keeps saying this is an employment issue between Ezra Howe and the Titans, and I think that's rubbish, particularly when they own the club. Because I know if it was another club and if it was, say, it was the Roosters, they would be looking under everything. Yeah. And they can't sit there and talk about integrity and not investigate themselves. And I think that's where the NRL have to be very strong on this. And so far, they haven't said a word. And I think that's wrong.
Okay, Michael Hagan has been brought in as Knights form committee to select the new head coach. Where are we at here, everyone?
It's a big committee.
Do we like the committee?
Not really.
Do we need a committee?
No, I would have thought Parry and Hayes could do it on their own. I don't think they need a subcommittee to get to the bottom of it.
Well,
thoughts?
Yeah, no, look, you would think so, but the fact that the club obviously doesn't have faith in the football manager to do that job, that raises a bit of a red flag straight off the top. From what I understand, look, there's still people out there. Dean Young's name's been mentioned, but as far as I'm aware, nothing's happened there. Holbrook, Blake Green, and Willie Peters. And Willie Peters. And when you look at this, you just hope that they get this right, because Blake Green's record up against, let's just say Willie Peters, you know. Willie Peters, what is he? He's taken Hull from nowhere to the top of the ladder. He's won a Challenge Cup. He's got the runs on the board. He's got years. Like Dean Young has been an interim coach along the way. He's worked at several clubs. He's been around the game for a long time. Holbrook's coached at NRL level. I just don't get how it all points back to the other guy. But I'll ask you.
I don't think they need to rush.
Because I'm led to believe there's been no interview with Dean Young up until this point. Has Willie Peters?
No.
To be honest, with Willie, we've been talking about it, discussing it, because they've asked us to apply. We don't think we're going to apply because, you talk about credentials and you just mentioned it, and I think it is a little bit unseen over there, like Willie. I think if you actually did your research on Willie and looked at what he's done over there and what he's achieved, you talk about credentials, you can't compare them. I mean, he's taken a team from last to first. He got Coach of the Year last year. He's going to get Coach of the Year this year. They're coming first. They're 4 points ahead of second. He's had Mikey Lewis as his halfback, who Willie was a halfback, who's man of steel. They won the Challenge Cup. There's not much more he can do. He's their head coach. Now, he's competing against, well, if he goes for it, which I don't think we're going to, I'm pretty sure we're not now, he's competing against assistant coaches. And everyone says, there's a difference between being an assistant and a head coach. He's taken a club that is a working class town in Hull who live and breathe rugby league. Their memberships have doubled. Their crowds have doubled since he's been there. And for him and where he's at right now, he's a chance of winning the Super League this year favourite right now. Us going through a process where we don't know where we're going to land with a number of candidates can distract the process of winning a Challenge Cup back, a premiership back there. And we just don't think it's worth it because, we just don't think it's worth it for him to do that. So we're pretty sure we're not.
What about if they just come to you and said, we want him as coach?
That's very different.
Yeah.
But we haven't received that. So we don't want to go through that.
And it is different, like, because you look at the strong clubs, like, did Gus go through that program when he was looking for Serraldo? No, he hoodwinked us all into thinking someone else was going to get the job, and he stole what he wanted.
Well, he had Trent Barrett there and told him he was going to be the coach for the team.
Yeah, but when Serraldo, along the way, he led us up the garden path to believe he wasn't going to be there. But when Richo wanted Wayne back at South, he didn't go through no committee meeting. They just made a decision. The good clubs have to.
I don't want to sound disrespectful.
That's where they have to put trust in Michael Hagan and Peter
But the Knights have got to
Park.
go back to what they want to believe in, because when I was a kid, it was such a tough local town, and they've had Wayne Bennett, they've had Nathan Brown, and now they've had Adam O'Brien, who's come with great credentials, but they've got to find out who they want to be again and go get the coach that's 100%. Best suited for those guys.
It doesn't matter who they put in there. I wouldn't be putting a rookie coach in, I know that.
They need a strong coach.
But they also need to they need to fix that club.
And the
community.
community.
They need to connect back with the community, but more than that, they need to connect with their juniors.
Yes.
That's the pipeline of juniors coming through. It's far more important than who the coach is.
And that all comes from the head coach, though. So it's so important that they make the right call on this. And you look through some of the coaches that have been there, including O'Brien, who some sort of success, but not what they deserve. They need to get this one right.
They need a strong coach that makes strong decisions and big ones. Now stick around, Journo's up next week. Cross live to Raiders stars Hudson Young and Morgan Smithies.
Here comes the cavalry. The Wanganuna Waz, they won't get there in time. Oh, what a shot on Ryan Pappenhausen.
Hidden short to Tabalolo. Driven there. That is so solid from Jaden Hunt.
The Gilpin Shield is waiting. Tapping it. Oh, what a shot. Skelton has crushed Strange, but Strange straight back up, and Skelton is paying the price. What is Ethan Strange made of? Jarrell Skelton threw everything he had, but Strange totally unaffected.
Welcome back. Those are our crunch time hits of the round. Thanks to Red Rooster. And let's cross live now to Canberra, where Hudson Young and Morgan Smithies joins us, boys. Just saw Ethan Strange get monstered on the weekend, but he got up smiling. He's a tough bugger, isn't he?
Yeah, g'day guys. That's Strangey all over, mate. He's rock solid, and he's been eating his veggies this year, and he's absolutely killing it, mate. And, to play alongside him every week, it's an exciting time for me.
Hey, mate, how special was it winning the Mitre Premiership in front of that crowd? It was amazing scenes, but how special was it holding the trophy up in front of your fans?
Yeah, I think it was very special. It's not been done in, I think, 30 years. So to do it at home in front of the fans who've turned up each week, it was very special, mate, and something we're proud of.
Boys, I'm worried about your coach. Every time he does an interview these days, he almost starts crying. Is he like that in the rooms? And how's he going to be if he's reached a grand final?
Yeah, you see exactly what you get with Sticky, and that's why we love him so much. And he was quite emotional after, obviously, winning the minor premiership. He was involved in the side when it last happened, and he always speaks to our squad and our team on being the next and chasing our own sort of history. And I feel like we're starting to create that as a team, and that excites him so much. And seeing how emotional Stick gets as well, it fires you up on the inside as well.
Does it fire you up? Because Ricky says it doesn't, but he says it in every interview that it does. The fact that people didn't give you a chance at the start of the season.
Yeah, I think it definitely does spur you on. We had a solid pre-season, but we had a lot of belief within the group of what we could do this year, and that was the main thing, that was the important thing. Stick installed that belief in us, so we just bought into it, worked hard, and I think it does spur you on a bit, and it's good to prove people wrong.
Hudson, what has been the big change this year? Like we look at the way you started against the Warriors in Vegas, and you haven't really stopped. You guys were brilliant, but there seems to be a significant shift. Where has that shift been? I mean, you guys would know more than us. Where do you think you've improved the most, and why?
Yeah, it's really hard. I was having to think about it the other day. It's really hard to put it down to one thing. I feel like as a collective, as a whole club, the way that everyone's brought in, like Morg said, from the moment that we come back from our pre-season camp to rolling into training every day, everyone's so happy and always so excited, and the coaches are coaching really well, and all the players are buying into all the systems that we have, and everyone's just staying within that, and off the field, everyone's so close. We've got such a great chemistry amongst the boys at the moment, and when we go out there and play, we're just playing free footy and just enjoying everyone's company at the moment, and I feel like that's been the biggest change.
Who's going to tell us the truth here? So tell us where the chemistry started. Did it start in the elevator? Tell us about that.
We created it back in Vegas.
Hey, mate, how
went on though? Come on, tell us a bit about
How you can tell us now?
No, honestly, I think just being in Canberra itself, you obviously move away from home, like many players do at many clubs. But being in Canberra, you're sort of in your own little world down here. We have our own little bubble. Everyone's such great mates. All the partners are really close off the field as well, so that helps as well. But whenever we organise a beer, the whole team shows up. Whether there's a coffee, there's always groups of boys doing things together, and I feel like that's a massive difference. There's no sort of groups doing things here and there. Everyone's always as one, and I feel like when you take the field, that sort of stuff matters.
How important is it getting 2 home finals there in front of that crowd?
Yeah, I think it's massive. Like I said before, the fans have been good all year. They've showed out in numbers even when it's been cold. So to get it in front of them, it's a big boost for us, and it'll be good to play in front of them again. Obviously, we play away this week, and then we'll be back at home, so it'll be good to be back in front of them.
Everyone talks about the... Sorry, you go.
Sorry, mate.
You're right. I was going to say...
I feel like on the weekend, like when Taps lift the trophy up, you could feel the energy within the crowd, and it makes such a difference when we're playing down there. So to get 2 home finals, to have that energy within the community, on and off the field, it's going to make a massive difference. I
wanted to ask you about Joe Tarpany. Like everyone talks about Big Papa and how inspirational he is, but Taps has been incredible for you guys this year. Just tell us about how he's led from the front for you guys this season.
Yeah, Taps has been great this year. I think, he's a leader with his actions, but he also needs to speak when he does so. So, yeah, he just goes out there and leads with his actions, and, we go off the back of him. He steers the ship, so yeah, he's good.
Just going back to that game in Mudgee against the Panthers and the win in that, do you grow more belief out of that victory? Like, from the outside looking in, it appeared like it was, it was the game where everyone really did start to take Canberra fair dinkum. And that victory, do you grow as a team from that?
Yeah, of course, mate. You've seen the way that Penrith were playing before, obviously playing us, and I feel like it was a great game. And they obviously won 4 comps for a reason, and for us to challenge ourselves against them and to come away with the chocolates at the end is obviously what you play the game for, to win. But I feel like it was how we won. It wasn't pretty at the start, but we grinded our way back from falling behind from them, and the belief that it gives the whole squad, from the younger boys right up to the senior players, I feel like that's held us in good stead coming into the finals.
Well, Hudson, Morgan, congratulations on the minor premiership. You two and your team have had a magical year. Good luck over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully you can get that grand final victory.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Two legends, Canberra Raiders legends who have had a great year. Hudson, he just gets better every year. You talk about leaders, and you can talk about Tarpany and Papali'i, but he's as bigger influence on that team as anyone.
He's got a great mix in his game for a back rower. Doesn't run the same lines. He comes through the middle of the ruck. He works really well with the players around him. He works well with the 9, 6 and the 7, and what a player. They just got to throw those two back in the lift and keep that camaraderie going. Just throw them back in the lift and just take the coffees in the
They changed something.
They moved from that quick.
It went on to like families.
I really wanted to ask who won. But you know what? But that's so important. So the thing I got out of that, for you to win, you've all got to be together.
You know what it reminded me of? The Melbourne Storm dynamic they've had for a long time in Melbourne, where their families and the players, they're almost made to be to socialise and live out of each other's pockets to a degree and get along so well because they're in a different state, by themselves. And Canberra's kind of got that similar dynamic going on, right?
And they kind of recruit that way too. Like when they're thinking of recruiting, they like to recruit a footballer but who's also the right character.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it also comes from, where they come from, towns and that sort of stuff. That's why they work so well as a team. They can have a blue at the start of the season. Best mates now.
Exciting times for the Raiders. Thank you, Crawls. Thank you, Webby. Tonight, following NRL 360, it's face-to-face with Noel Clear.
Zavala on, Tedesco this time goes himself. Miracle pass, Nawaqanitawase! Goes for the line, try!
Here's Sandon Smith.
On to Zavala, deep pass to Tedesco, Nawaqanitawase! Class finish, class player, now the NRL's leading try scorer.
Welcome back. That was our dynamic duo thanks to Vodafone. That's it, Gordy, for
Thanks,
tonight.
Brad.
Stay away from toilets and the Caxton. We don't need another Bronco going down. All right, Gordy?
I would have been in trouble in my day.
All right, that's it for NRL 360. Now it's time for face-to-face.
Finals footy, the very best time of year, and don't we know it? Winter gives way to spring, and with it, an equal dose injection of tension, hope, and excitement.
This is what you play for. This is what you live for as a footballer.
Welcome to September 2025, to the making of history. Opening with a Thursday night qualifying final, Crows and the Magpies. Just 3 weeks on from that spiteful nail-biter. Another stepping stone in Adelaide's meteoric rise to the minor premiership.
A night they'll never forget.
Now to salute one of their best.
Oh, vintage Tex!
Debuted against the Pies all those years ago.
And he's equal to the big stage in his first game.
Now fittingly brings up the magical 300 against them. And yet, against Nick Dacos.
I get a little bit excited when I play against Nick.
Just like Tex, we marvel at the little maestro.
When I played against him this year, I was like, this kid's a freak.
At the forefront of another black and white September campaign.
The Dacos difference!
Friday night, Geelong and Brisbane, two teams who only know how to contend.
And that's the way we love it at the MCG on a Friday night.
That breathtaking prelim of 2024.
Cam Rayner to get them to the granny.
One for the ages. Now they go again, fueled by the same unrelenting appetite for greatness. The showman, Bailey Smith.
Bailey Smith! Why wouldn't he?
And the Coleman medalist, Larrick and Jeremy Cameron.
Oh, Jezza. Jeremy Coleman.
Up against the refreshed leader of the pack, Lachie Neale, back to bolster the premiers.
They're staring success right in the eyes.
Super Saturday elimination final doubleheader. Firing up with the Giants taking on Hawthorn. The two wildcards. Match winners and swagger everywhere. Headlined by Toby Green, the fiercest of competitors.
Bradley's got a little bit to say there. He's looking overweight. See how he goes second half.
Showed us all again last week. Not that we needed reminding. Sam Mitchell's Hawks fear no one, climbing themselves to walk the September tightrope. Next up in the West, a September arrival 15 years in the making.
The Suns are playing finals footy.
All under the craftsmanship of Dimmer and his midfield dynamos, Noah Anderson and Matt Rowell. Up against the Dockers, belief and credentials restored.
Ruthless from the Dockers.
Armed with a unicorn and the prancing pony thriving with his second chance.
He's not just a one-trick pony.
Here we go. Finals footy, the best time of the year. Watch it and feel it in magnificent 4K Ultra HD. Right here on Fox Footy.
From walking on thin ice to dancing on the mountaintop.
Well, welcome back to the midweek tackle. I don't know about you boys. I'm off to run through a brick wall after that. We have literally just seen that live sitting here for the very first time, and it does not get any better. You will hear Fox commentary on AFL finals for the very first time from Thursday night. And
oh, how good.
I tell you what, I just cannot. What have we got? 47 and a half hours to go, boys. I absolutely cannot wait. Some of the names there, Bailey Smith, Nick Dacos, Riley Thilthorpe, and my son's favourite player, the unicorn, Luke Jackson. They are all going to be in action, and it's going to be an absolute cracker weekend. Of course, Geelong